Hello everybody, this is Dr.G.P.Sudhakar, Professor of Management from India. Right, in this specific video, I am going to explain you some of the research topics or they can be chosen as PhD topics in areas related to management. In areas related to management. For example, take wealth management, diversity management, or conflict management, corporate governance, e-commerce, some of the research topics in rural development, huh? And then what could be the cross-functional level PhD topics, what could be industry level PhD topics, right? So these kind of research topics we are going to learn as part of this presentation, right? So let's move on and learn about some of the research topics in these areas, right? So wealth management, role of manager, e-commerce, diversity management, corporate governance, conflict management. This is one of the research area, conflict management, right? It attracts a lot of attention from the industry practitioners and also the research community. It is one of the popular area, right? See, for example, Harvard Law School or Harvard University is doing a lot of research, particularly in negotiations and conflict management, right? So let's move on, and what could be the industry level topics and cross functional topics also we will be learning as part of this presentation, right? So to start with, let us see what could be the potential research topics in the area of wealth management. See, remember, I am only introducing you the some of the variables in the research domain, or some of the, it is only the, putting you in some direction, so that you get some thoughts, in which way you should proceed in choosing a research topic, to write a research paper or to do doctoral program, right? So take it in that way, what could be the potential variables, how can we construct a research problem, in that direction you think about, right, when we are learning from these kind of topics, right? So in the wealth management area, for example, what is the investment portfolio diversity and then portfolio valuation. How much diversified is the investment portfolio, right? How many shares, mutual funds, physical assets, and fixed interest, fixed term deposits, like this portfolio diversity you are having, right? So what is the level of portfolio diversity, what is its relationship to the portfolio valuation, right? So is there any relationship between the more diversity we are having, or the more valuation within the stocks also you can take, you are having 10 different sectors of shares. For example, take a mutual fund, it will have 20-25 different shares of different companies, right? In that you will have different sectors, right? So it can be banking sector, insurance sector, hmm, energy sector, similarly technology sector, like that different sectors will be there. So the more diversity you are having in the mutual fund, is it related to the portfolio valuation, or how much, what is its relationship? It is there any ideal diversity level which gives you optimal portfolio valuation, that can be researched further. Similarly, investor knowledge and portfolio growth rate, is it related? Investors financial literacy, financial knowledge, is it related to the portfolio growth rate? That can be researched further, right? Investor behavior and equity performance. See, basically stock investment or shares investments, it is something related to the investors behavior and attitude as well. What is the impact of investors behavior and attitude over equity performance also further studied, right? So next, relationship between market timing and the return on investment, right? The timing, what is that we have chosen to invest, and return on investment, is there any relationship? When sensex is very high, we are getting better returns, investment returns, or when sensex is very low, we are getting investment, we made investments when sensex was low, or NYSE, Dow Jones Industrial Average is low, we invested. Right. So that means our return on investment is more. What is its relationship between the indicator and the investment return? Similarly, Sensex growth rate, BSE Sensex growth rate, and investor portfolio growth rate. You know, Sensex is growing. Is your portfolio, stock portfolio you are having, shares portfolio you are having, is it growing or not? What is its relationship? No, the more diversity you are having in the portfolio, it may not be able to grow as according to the sensex, right? So what is its relationship? That can be further studied. So next topic can be investment tenure, return on equity. Investment tenure and then return on equity. The more tenure you have, you kept investment in the equity market, that means you invested 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, is it related to the return on equity? If you are you kept invested for 15 years, is your return on equity is more, or 10 years it is return on equity is more? So what is its relationship, right? Similarly, physical assets annual growth rate, is it related to the liquid assets annual growth rate? See, for example, you have invested in real estate, or commercial property or residential property. So what is its growth rate, and what is the liquid assets growth rate? Is it related? Because if fixed assets return is growing high, is it related to the, similarly liquid assets are also going high? Or what is its relationship? That can be further studied, right? So the amount invested, investment tenure, what is its effect over the equity portfolio valuation? So you have invested some $100,000, right? Investment tenure is of 10 years. So you get in 10 years you got $1 million as equity valuation. For example, you invested only 50,000, but tenure you kept invested for $50,000 only you invested. Tenure you kept 20 years. Then what is the valuation for your 20 years of investment of $50,000? Right? What is the valuation? What is the relationship? What is the effect of amount invested and investment tenure over the equity portfolio valuation? That can be further studied. Right? So number of shares in a mutual fund. What is its impact over the average growth rate of the mutual fund? See, for example, if you are reading Economic Times, Wealth magazine specifically, every week they put about one mutual fund in Wealth magazine of the Economic Times. Right, in that they give they describe about each portfolio in detail. Who is the mutual fund manager? What is his background, educational background, and what are the sectors they have invested in? How much is the growth rate over a period of 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? So like that, they in graphs they will put it in Economic Times. If you observe mutual funds, right? So number of stocks in the mutual fund, some people will have 25 mutual shares in a mutual fund, some people will have 50 shares, then and they keep 1 year return rate is 25%, or 5 years it is 15% return rate. So like that it varies from one mutual fund to another mutual fund. See, is it related, number of shares in a mutual fund, is it related to the annual growth rate of the mutual fund? That can be further studied, right? Effect of mutual fund manager tenure, education qualification over mutual fund performance. For example, if we observe, see, sometimes investors look at the mutual fund owners educational qualification when they are investing, or somebody will look at how much he is there in that specific organization, in asset management company, how many years he is there, what is his tenure in that specific organization. So these kind of factors will affect in decision of investors in investing in specific, what is the background of the mutual fund manager in investing in the mutual fund. These kind of factors will affect investors decision, right? So what is there, these factors impact over the mutual fund performance, right? That can be further studied, right? So using different statistical techniques you have to do, right? So the wealth management problem domain is like this, right? Let's move on and learn about what could be the potential topics related to manager. See, manager is himself, it is very much a lot of research has been done in this area. Manager is the by taking manager as an individual in the organization or as a team leader in the organization. So many research studies have been conducted across the world. Across the world. So if you take manager as a role, and what can be the potential research topics related to manager behavior, attitude, performance, and team member relationship, organizational relationship, we will see now. Right. So, for example, first topic would be manager's attitude. What is its impact over the employee performance appraisal? So, we discussed, right? See how employee performance appraisal has been affected by theory X and theory Y with respect to theory X, theory Y. When a manager assumes his perception, how it is going to impact employee performance. This can be studied. Manager's attitude effect over the employee performance appraisal. Similarly, manager's perception, task complexity, and employee job commitment. Know how with the manager perception and what is his task complexity, what is these two relationship to the employee job commitment. The effect can be studied. Right, manager's delegation, employee task perseverance, what is its impact over the task success. Similarly, managers personality traits effect over the opportunity identification. See, opportunity identification is a different skill set. Only some of the managers only will be able to identify the opportunities within the organization and also outside the organization. What is that coming for their team? For their team. So, what are the managers' personality traits affecting the opportunity identification? That can be further studied, right? So employee attitude, manager's leadership style, what is its effect over the employee job success? Employee attitude, manager's leadership style, its effect over the employee job success. Right. So next topic would be type of power used by the manager and employee job commitment. See, manager will have different powers, right? Expert power, referral power, and then coercive power. Right. So referral power, formal power, or the legitimate power. Different types of powers are there, manager. So which type of power is related to the employee job commitment? So when he applies which power, employee is committed to the job. That can be researched further. Right. So the manager's personality traits and department's profitability. What is its manager's personality traits and which traits of the manager will help the department's profitability? That can be studied, right? Manager values, behavior, its impact over the employee trust over the manager. See, trust building is one of the aspects of a manager. Every manager has to look at in an organization. Then only he can achieve the performance from the team. Right. So this trust building employee trait will be affected by the manager's values and behavior. What is its effect can be studied further. Right. So manager skills diversity and employee innovative performance. See, because sometimes innovative capability of the employee is affected by the positively by the expert power of the manager. The more expert power manager is having, employee will be more innovative. Right. The more skill diversity manager is having, employees becomes more innovative. What is its relationship? You can study. Right. So there are two types of managers, right? Introvert manager or extrovert manager. So what is its introvert manager, extrovert manager effect over the stakeholder satisfaction? Which type of manager really gives the satisfaction, stakeholder satisfaction? That can be studied. Whether introvert manager or extrovert manager. Right. So now let's move on and learn about topics in e-commerce. So in e-commerce area, if you look at industry level, right? So what is the internet penetration rate in that country, and what is the e-commerce growth rate in that country? You can do 40-50 countries you can take and do this study, right? What is the internet penetration rate in that country, and what is the e-commerce industry size? Take 50 countries data and then study what is no, the more internet penetration is there in my country, economy e-commerce is growing. Is that the main reason? We can find out, right? So the effect of e-commerce over the physical store sales. So the e-commerce industry is growing. Is it affecting positively the physical store sales, or is it affecting negatively? That can be studied further, right? So relationship of weather condition over the e-commerce revenues. See, sometimes what happens is when the weather is turbulent, weather is there, people stop visiting to the physical stores, right? they don't go to the physical stores when turbulent weather is there. So is it because of the weather conditions e-tailers revenue is growing? That can be studied, right? So customer payment method and e-tailer revenues. For example, e-commerce firms, they do take different types of payment methods. They go for cash, cash on delivery. They go for credit card. They go for internet banking. They go for debit cards. So many wallets, e-wallets. So different types of payment methods e-commerce firms usually they choose. They give option to the consumers, right? So which type of payment method is really affecting the e-commerce players revenues? That can be studied, right? So delivery workforce, what is the number of workforce you are having? Is it related to the e-commerce revenues of the firm? That can be studied. Technology factors affecting the customer product purchase decision online. The more user friendly your technology is there, is it because of that the customer is making purchase decisions? That can be studied, right? Customer ratings of the specific product, what is its impact over the product purchase decision? That means, see, usually for example, if you take Amazon, so each product will have customer ratings. These many number of customers, 50 customers or 60 customers are given rating, or sometimes 500 customers also will give rating. Is it the number of customer ratings on a specific product? Is it related to the product purchase decision? That can be studied, right? Similarly, time taken for online product purchase decision by the customer and the product return rate. So for example, customer has taken more time in choosing a product. That means, is it because of that he is not returning the product? Customer has purchased the product in very short term. Quickly he made a decision. That is because of that he is returning the product. So what is the impact of time over the product return rate? That can be studied. Similarly, customer revisit rate to the website and product return rate during the part 5 years of the retailer. That means, customer revisit rate is more. Is it because of that product return rate is reduced in the last 5 years, or what is its impact, right? Effect of time taken to deliver each customer order by the e-tailer and the e-tailer revenues. That means, e-tailer is delivering quickly to the customer. Is it because of that revenues are growing? What is its effect over the delivery time on the e-commerce players revenues? That can be further studied, right? So let's move on and learn about some of the PhD topics or research topics in diversity management. See, basically, diversity from research point of view, it has proven that diversified teams are innovative. Diversified teams produce more productivity. So like that research has been and it becomes an asset to diversity, becomes an asset to the organization. Like that research has proved, right? So then let us see what could be the minute topics in each of these diversity management. Similarly, employees diversity is of two different types: skill diversity, education diversity, value diversity. Like this diversity can be age diversity, gender diversity. Different types of diversities are there, right? So let us see each one of the, by taking each diversity as independent variable and what is the dependent variable, organizational performance and all these things we will learn, right? So see this employee skill diversity, what is its impact over the organizational performance? The more employee skill diversity you are having in the organization, that is because of that organizational performance is growing. Next topic could be employee value diversity and organizational reputation. See, we are having in our organization different cultured people, different, they are bringing different value set to the organization. Is it because of it our organizational reputation is good in the market, right? That can be studied, right? So employee functional diversity is what is its impact over the organizational innovativeness? See, innovation is comes from the diversified functionalities, right? When a cross functional people join as a team, then innovation comes out, right? So what is the functional diversity effect over the innovation, organizational innovation? That can be studied, right? Employee education diversity and income levels, is it because of that education diversity in income levels are varying? That can be studied. Similarly, leadership diversity effect over the customer satisfaction. Leadership diversity over the customer satisfaction. We are different child leaders in our organization. Each manager follows different leadership style. Is it because of that customer satisfaction is more in the organization? That can be studied. Right. Effect of women leadership over the organizational financial performance. This is one of the research area where so many research studies are there. Is it what is the impact of women leadership over the organizational financial performance? How is it profits are growing because of women leaders, or revenues are growing? That can be further studied, right? So next, task complexity, gender diversity, and task success. See, task complexity is there, gender diversity is there. That means which gender people are, when you include how much diversity level, is leading to task success. That can be studied. Effect of employee tenure diversity and team cohesion in the organization. The more tenure diversity you are having in the organization, that means one employee is having 2 years experience, another employee is having 5 years experience, another employee is having 10 years experience. Is it because of that team cohesion is good in the organization? Is it tenure diversity is affecting the team cohesion? Next, cultural diversity effect over the communication effectiveness. The cross cultural teams you are having, you are having cultural diversity in the team. It gives communication effectiveness will be there in the team. What is this research study impact? Right. Organizational structural diversity. What is its effect over the organizational innovativeness? That means we are having, with respect to organization structure, we are having diversity. Is it because of that our organizational innovation level is very high? That can be studied, right? So these are some of the research topics in diversity management. Now let us see some of the research topics in corporate governance. See, corporate governance means what all will come into picture. CEO will come, chairman will come, board of directors will come. So all these people will come into picture when we say corporate governance. Right. So CEO tenure, what is its effect over the CEO compensation? That means the CEO is there in the organization for 5 years or 6 years or 7 years. Is it because of that CEO compensation is growing? Similarly, what is the board structure and CEO autonomy? How diversified is the board and how is the CEO autonomy? What is its impact? Right. Similarly, organizational profitability, is it related to the CEO compensation? No, the more organization more profitable, CEO is getting more pay. That can be studied, right? CEO success planning, what is its effect over the CEO succession planning? Right. What is its effect over the organizational performance? You are having succession planning in the organization much ahead of time because CEO is going to retire. Right. So what is its effect over the organizational performance? Right. So similarly, promoted CEO within the organization, or we recruited outside CEO. What is its effect over the organizational financial performance? That means inside the CEOs are giving better financial result, or outside CEOs when we recruited, they are giving better financial result. That can be studied further, right? Next, board CEO relationship, its effect over the organizational equity performance in the market, equity market, share market, right? In the stock market, the organizational performance is very good, means is the CEO and board relationship is good. That can be studied. CEO tenure, CEO compensation, its effect over the shareholder wealth. The moment CEO is spending more time in the organization, 5 years or 7 years in the organization, and he is getting compensated well, is these two factors are impacting the shareholder wealth. The shareholder's wealth is growing because of these two factors. That can be studied. CEO tenure in the organization and investors commitment. No, CEO is staying more. For example, take GE, General Electric, as an organization. How long Jack Welch then Immelt were there within the company? Right? Is it because of their tenure in the organization? Investors are committed. These kind of examples you can see. Right? So many examples are there. No, Larry Ellison of Oracle, or how tenure, who held the CEO position, their tenure in the organization, and then the investor commitment. Is it because of that? That can be studied further. Next, impact of board size over CEO performance. See, for example, different organizations will have different board sizes. Some companies will have 8 members in the board, some companies will have 10 members, some will have 12 members. No, is there any ideal size of the board of directors, which is impacting the CEO performance? That can be studied further. Next, investors' commitment over the growth in investors' wealth. What is the investor's commitment in the organization and the growth in the investor's wealth? The investor is invested for more than 5 years or 10 years in the company. Is it because of that his investment portfolio wealth is growing? Right, that can be further studied. Right, so let's move on. And about conflict management. See, this is one of the area which has attracted a lot of attention across the world from the research community. Right, community conflict management. Even industry practitioners also, the moment they they see the word, they go and read the article. Right, from the industry practitioners also. Right, so this has got a lot of traction in the research community across the world. Even Harvard also, law school also is working on conflict management and negotiations. Right, a very a lot of work. Right, so let us see what could be related to conflict management. Right, what could be the research topics? Leaders conflict management skills, its effect over the team performance. Right, that can be studied. Conflict resolution techniques used by the manager and stakeholder for satisfaction. See, there are different conflict resolution techniques. For example, one is withdrawal or avoiding confrontation, compromise, smoothing, similarly forcing. Different types of conflict resolution techniques are there. So which technique when manager is using, stakeholder satisfaction is high, that can be studied for the research potential is there. Right, next, task conflicts. What is, see, conflicts are of three types: task conflict, relationship conflict, and process conflict. Right, so what is the effect of task conflicts over the organizational performance? That can be studied. What is the effect of relationship conflict over the organizational performance? That can be studied further. Similarly, what is the effect of process conflicts at different stages of team development? Team development stages are there, right? Forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. At different stages of team development, what is the effect of process conflicts? At which stage they are helpful to the team performance? That can be studied further. One of the research topic. Right, so next, conflict resolution techniques used by the manager and organizational financial performance. So these kind of conflict resolution techniques are used. Conflict resolution techniques, whether it is using withdrawal, avoidance, or confrontation, these kind of techniques. So which technique he is using, which is resulting into the financial performance, better profits are coming. Right, that can be studied further. Next, CEO conflict resolution techniques, employee average tenure in the organization. See, the CEO is having better conflict resolution technique. Is it because of that employees are staying more in the company? That can be studied. Right, next, effect of manager conflict resolution competency skills over the organizational culture. No, it depends, right? Organization culture is affected by the manager's conflict resolution techniques and skills, right? That can be studied. Next, effect of team size over the conflict resolution techniques used by the manager, right? See, that the moment you are having only 3-member team, if that is so, manager is using better conflict resolution techniques. If he is having 20 members or 30 members, he may be more effective in conflict resolutions. Right, he may use confrontation. For example, if you are having 2 members or 3 members, what he will do? He may compromise, or he may use another technique of avoidance or withdrawal. What is its impact over the team size over the conflict resolution techniques used by the manager? That can be studied. Team size effect. Right. Next, relationship between the organizational structure and its impact over the conflict resolution techniques used by the manager. So the flat organization structure you are having in the organization, for example, is it because of that manager is using better techniques? The more hierarchy is there, manager uses different techniques. That can be studied further. More hierarchy in the organization. No, control levels you are there. The flat organization structure is there. Which organization is more effective in conflict resolution? Right, that can be studied further. Right, so let's move on. And about the PhD topics related to cross-functional teams. Cross-functional means what all will come into picture? What are the different business functions of an organization? Business functions, what all will come into picture? Marketing, HR, finance, operations, IT management, hmm, strategy, all these things, cross-functional, right? So, the cross-functional PhD topics means combining these different functions of the organization. What can be the potential cross-functional topics? Effect of financial planning over the organizational effectiveness. Financial planning effect over the organizational effectiveness means organizational performance, productivity, all these things. Right, customer satisfaction, all these things. Right. So next, effect of HR planning over the operational performance. No, we are doing HR planning better. Is it because of that operational performance is high? These are, HR domain is there, operations domain is there. Next, effect of project performance over the operational performance. Project management will come and also operations management will come. What is the relationship between creativity, innovation, its effect over the organizational financial performance? Creativity, innovation means entrepreneurship, innovation area is coming, and organizational financial finance area is coming. Next, advertising expenditure, its effect over the organizational financial performance. That means marketing area is coming and also the finance area is coming. Right. Next, organizational revenue growth effect over the dividend paid to the shareholders. Revenue is growing. What is its effect over the dividend paid to the shareholders? Similarly, organizational revenue growth effect over the employee satisfaction. Employee satisfaction. Right. Revenues are growing. Is it employee satisfied? That can be studied. Effect of employee training over the operational effectiveness. Right. We are giving more training. Is it because of that organizational effectiveness is more? Effectiveness means operational effectiveness. Operational effectiveness. Similarly, sales team size. What is effective over the financial performance? The more sales team you are having, is it because of that your financial performance is better, more profits are coming? What is its relationship? Is there any ideal sales team size to achieve better financial performance? R&D investments, it's effective over the financial performance. We are investing in R&D, right? What is the financial performance relationship or effect? Right, this can be further studied. Let's move on at the industry level. We will see what could be the potential research topics at the industry level. At the industry level, see, at industry level, for example, take IT industry. IT industry is around Indian IT industry is worth around 180 billion or something like that. Annual revenues 180 billion or something like that. So different industries have got different. Retail industry is more than around 600 billion, something like that. So each industry has got its revenues. For example, IT industry is growing means what are the dependent industries? Real estate industry is dependent, automobile industry is dependent, hospitality industry is dependent. So like this, some of the dependent industries are there, which are dependent on the IT industry, automobile industry, like that. So when we relate all these industries, what could be the potential PhD topics or research topics we will study now? We will study, right? So IT industry growth. What is its effect over the construction industry growth over a period of decade or 2 decades? IT industry is growing. Is construction industry is also growing? What is its effect? Similarly, and IT industry growth effect over the automobile industry growth over a couple of decades. Right. So effect of oil price over automobile industry. Oil price is increasing. Is it because of that automobile industry sales are going down? What is its relationship? Right. So effect of growth of retail industry over citizen happiness index. See, retail industry is growing. That means people are purchasing more and more. Consumption is high. People are purchasing more and more goods. Right. Is it because of that citizens are happy? That can be studied. Happiness index. Right. IT industry growth. What is its effect over the healthcare industry growth? Is it because of IT industry is growing, healthcare industry? That can be further studied. Right. So infrastructure industry, what is its effect over the transportation industry? Infrastructure, we are laying out so many bridges, roads, and other infrastructure we are setting, and network we are creating. Right. So connectivity between all the metro, road, all the connectivity we are achieving nowadays. Right. So we are having infrastructure development. Is it impacting the transportation industry? Transportation industry. Next, factors affecting the growth of insurance industry. What factors are affecting the insurance industry? Similarly, relationship between automobile industry growth and insurance industry, because we are selling more automobiles means they go for auto insurance, right? So is it because the insurance industry is growing or some other reasons are there? That also we can find out. right? Banking industry growth, what is its effect over home loan industry growth? Banking industry is growing, but at the same time home loan industry is growing or not? What could be the factors affecting the infrastructure industry development? What factors are really impacting the infrastructure industry development? That can be further studied, right? So let's move on and learn about this could be the last area in this presentation, in this specific presentation, last area for topics, research topics. See, this is rural development. See, I have chosen this area because rural economy plays major role in particularly in the developing nations, particularly in the developing nations. For example, take Indian GDP. Around 18% of Indian GDP is dependent on the rural economy and the agriculture sector, and the rural economy is more than that. Agriculture sector, rural economy is more than this, right? So agriculture, specific agriculture sector is contributing around 18% to the Indian GDP. That means it is significant amount of money. So rural economy, related to rural economy and management, some of the aspects we will learn in this specific area, right? What could be the potential research topics? Effect of rural literacy over rural economy. What is the effect of rural literacy over rural economy? That the literacy is more, or less, because of that rural economy is growing. Next, factors leading to farmers' indebtedness. Why farmers are taking loans and all, they are ending up in loans. That can be studied further. Next, agricultural workforce. Its effect over the agricultural economy. The more number of workforce you are having, is it because of the agricultural economy is growing? So that can be studied. Farmers average land holding, what is its impact over the agricultural economy? See, when a single farmer is having more land, is it contributing to the agricultural economy? Or when a single farmer is having a smaller land bit, is it impacting the agricultural economy? That can be studied. The fragmentation is more or consolidation is affecting. So that can be studied. The fragmentation of the land or consolidation of the land, which is the contributing to the agricultural economy. Next, deforestation. What is its effect over the agricultural economy? We are deforesting and then cultivating there in those areas. Is it really contributing to the agricultural economy? Right. So farmers average land holding effective over the crop production, average crop production. See, is there any ideal size? Farmers average land holding and the more productivity we are getting. When large land holdings are there, how much productivity we are getting? When smaller land holding is there, how much crop production we are getting? Is there any ideal size where we get a better crop production in the country? That can be studied further. One of the potential topic, right? What is the relationship between livestock population and dairy industry growth? We have experienced this, right? In India, livestock, number of livestock has grown and dairy industry also has grown very much, right? So what is its effect? This can be studied further. New factors can be studied, right? Next, effect of extension education over farmer performance. Effect of extension education over farmer performance, right? See, extension education is provided to farmers, right? Is it because of that farmer performance is increasing? That can be studied. Effect of extension education over average crop production. Effect of extension education, is it because of the education crop production is increasing? That can be studied. Similarly, relationship between rural literacy rate and adaptation of the extension education. Is it because of the literacy rate is high, farmers are coming forward in adopting the agricultural extension education? Is it because of the literacy rate is high, they are coming to the extension education? That can be studied, right? So like this, these are all the some of the potential topics in the rural development area, right? So far, what is that we have covered in this presentation? Right. So in this specific presentation, we have studied about what could be the potential research topics in the areas related to management. For example, we started with wealth management, then we moved on to so many areas of related to management. E-commerce we studied, diversity management, cross-cultural conflict management we have seen. Next, corporate governance we have seen. Some of the potential topics. Similarly, industry level topics, e-commerce we have seen, some of the cross-functional topics also we have seen, and rural development area also we have seen in this specific presentation. Right. So my main objective was to introduce you the problem domain, right? So once you know the variables, it is easy to construct research problems, and you have to do the literature review on these kind of variables, and try to construct the problem, do the literature review, gather the items specific to that specific variable, and construct a questionnaire, and that way you have to proceed. This is only putting you in some direction and giving you some thoughts, some variables which I am you can think about as a potential constituents in your research topics, right? Okay, thank you everybody, thank you.